Okay, so in Farming Simulator 25, it's not just about crops and animals. You can also do foresting. And in this video, we're going to go through a forestry guide. I'm going to show you exactly how all of it works. Basically, what I've done is I started a brand new farm on Riverbend Springs, and I've gone and leased all of the equipment that we're going to need. And I want you guys to know that what I'm going to show you is not the only way. There are different machines that will work differently. For an example, you can put headers on an excavator and work that way. I've just bought stuff that's easy to use just so that I can show you the basics so that you understand how the foresting works. So if we back out of the map, this is where you start your farm in Riverbend Springs. I've purchased plot 18 or farmland 18 because there are trees, and also there is quite a lot of flat land because we're going to be planting our own trees as well. So we have a bunch of different vehicles. I'm not going to go through all of their professional names and things like that, but basically what this one does is going to pick up your logs when you've cut them down from trees. This one here is going to, it's mainly the trailers because they're all just basic tractors on the front. This one is going to plant your tree saplings. Then this one along here is going to remove the stumps out of the ground when you've chopped the tree down. Then we've got this one here, which is it's called a yarder. Basically, it creates a winch and lets you basically move like a mobile crane sort of thing along it. And that way, if there's wood and stuff that you need to remove from the area, you can do so using this machine. Then on the other side of this building, we have the harvester. This is going to chop down your trees. And this one's really good because you can set this up to basically cut down the tree, and then it will chop it into logs at a length that you want. So you can set it to 5 meters, 10 meters, so on and so forth. And then this here is for wood chippings. If you've got any small bits left on a tree, chuck them in here. It creates wood chip. Put that into a trailer, go and sell it. You're going to get some money for the wood chips as well as the logs and stuff that you're chopping up. Then over here, all we've got is our transport vehicles. We've got a truck with the transport stuff on the back, and we've got a little crane so that we can lift the logs up and put them in there. And then down here, we have a gigantic tractor with a massive trailer on the back, and that is where our wood chips are going to sit. So if we go into the vehicle shop, in order to get all of these vehicles and everything, you're going to want to come all the way down until you get to forestry. And then you've got all the different categories here. So the saplings, you purchase them here. There's different types depending on the machinery you're using. You've got your winches, you've got excavators, you've got harvesters, forwarders, things like that. So this is the category you want to focus on for when you're chopping down trees. There's going to be contracts in the game that you can do where you can lease the equipment for specific contracts if you want to earn extra money on top of your crops and animals as well. So the vehicle we're going to start with is going to be the planter. So we jump in our tractor, and if we back up to I basically bought a crate of saplings back here. The thing I like about this machine is when you have, let's quickly load it up. So if we go into reverse, we back up far enough, refill it, the saplings are going to sit on the back. What this does is when you turn it on, it basically has got an automatic distance sort of thing set. So if I want to, I've bought pine trees just because they're tall and thin. They're a lot easier to work with, to give you an example of how they work. So if we turn on the planter and we lower it as well, it's then going to start placing the trees in the ground. But you'll see that it leaves a specific gap in between each one that it plants. And then these trees are going to take a while to grow back anyway. So if we put down 4 trees and then I just lift it back up, that's exactly how the planter works. It's B to turn it on and off, it's V to lower it and raise it. And it sets it up so that there is an equal distance in between each of the saplings you plant. Whereas there's other machines in the game, so that, for you to plant your trees, that are going to let you choose the distance between each one. So just so that things aren't so messy, if I just plant those 4 saplings and then we back this vehicle up, what we're now going to do is I'm going to speed up time so that it goes to a time frame where these trees have actually grown. So you're going to see a massive decrease in money, but I've fast forwarded the game a few years. I did it just by sleeping over and over again. And you'll see that we now have a bunch of trees that have grown to a height of 13.5 meters. So when it comes to doing your foresting, the first thing you will do is you will jump into your machine that has the ability to harvest trees. So if we come over this side of this building, and we jump into here, what we are going to do is drive up to like around a tree as close as we can get without getting too close. And then what we are going to do is turn on the harvester. We are going to lower it into place. And then you're going to see this line that goes around the tree. So what we can do is press O on our keyboard and it's going to align the harvester to target the tree. And then all we've got to do is press X and it's going to cut that tree down, and it actually grabs the tree as well. So what we can do is move the tree over here a little bit, and then what we can do is drop it. So if we do left, shift, and X, that's going to drop the tree. And then that is our tree chopped. You can also, if I just back this up quickly, turn off the harvester. You can also buy a tool from the vehicle shop for £1,000. It's like right at the bottom of the list. You can buy yourself a little chainsaw. And all you've got to do is use your right mouse button, hold it down, and tilt to the side to get the angle you want to chop. And then you've just got to line it up on the tree. So if we go right to near the bottom of the tree, and then we just hold down our left mouse button, that is going to chop down the tree. So you can do it manually, you can do it with machines and stuff. And then with this first chop from the machine that we used, is left a little bit towards the bottom that I'm actually going to cut off and turn into wood chippings. So if we cut off, let's just say we cut this around here, then small pieces you can pick up by hand. So if I put that away, we should then be able to just use our left mouse button, pick it up, and kind of just move away with the log. And then if we drop it, we can jump into this wood chipper. And if we go forward a little bit, what we're going to do is we are going to unfold the wood chipper so it opens everything up. And we are also going to put out the pipe. And then if we jump in our large tractor and we bring this over with the trailer close to our wood chipper, what's going to happen is the pipe's going to track to the trailer. So if we park that up there, what we're going to do is jump back in the wood chipper, we're going to turn it on, and then whilst it's on, you're going to see the conveyor belt at the side working. For some reason it's turned off. Okay, so one thing I forgot to mention, I actually had it on because it's on by default, I forgot to turn it off. When you have automatic engine start, when you get out of a vehicle, it's going to turn the engine off. So if you turn that off, then when you get into a vehicle, what you can do is you can start the engine, so I press enter, it starts the engine, and that way, if I jump back in quickly and press B, it's going to turn on the cutter, that way I can get out and the machine is still running. If you've got automatic engine start, when you get out of the wood chipper, it's going to turn off. So now if we grab our little log and we put it on the conveyor belt, it's going to chuck it into the machine, turn it into wood chippings, then spew it into the trailer. And then with this, we can now, even though we've only got 224 litres, we can take those wood chips and go and sell them. And now we did that chop to get the wood chippings, we've left ourselves with a massive stump in the ground. So if we jump into the stump cutter, so jump into my tractor that's got it on the back of it, turn the engine on, then what we're going to do is we are going to drive over to the stump, and we're going to back up into it. And we're going to turn on the grinder. And then you want to control it with your mouse. Kind of have it low to the ground. So that the saw blade is in line with the stump. And then just kind of lower it. And keep going over the stump. It can be a little bit tricky to kind of get the hang of. But when you're right over the top of it, you'll see there that we have successfully, if I turn this off again, we've successfully got rid of that stump that was in our way. So that's going to be the use of your stump cutter. So now that we are done with the stump cutter, if we jump back into the harvester, this time instead of dropping the tree after we've initially cut it, we're actually going to keep it on the harvester. And then I want to show you guys the automatic cutter. So if I come over to this tree here, and we align the harvester to the target tree, and then what we're going to do is we are going to get it into position and we are going to cut the tree down. So sometimes it's not going to put it in the correct position. So if you hold down O, it will line it up perfectly to where that line around the tree goes green. So now if we cut the tree, Once that's cut, we have the tree in our machine. If we let it fall down but keep it on the harvester, then what we can do, you'll see at the top left, change cut length. It's currently set to 5 meters. You can change it. You can go 12, 15, 20. But if we keep it for 5 meters, then what we're going to do is press X again, and you'll see that it feeds the tree through and it cuts it to the perfect length of 5 meters. So if we do it again, it gets all of those loose bits off the edge as well. And now if we back this machine up, you'll see here on the floor that we've now got 2 logs that are 5 meters each in length, and they're perfectly 5 meters each. So if I put that one down, for some reason I picked it up, I don't know why. But what we can do now is we can jump into our machine that is going to pick these up. So if we come over here, then what we're going to do with this machine is we're going to lower the crane down over the top of a log. We're going to close it up so that we pick up that log that's on the floor. And you want to make it really nice and tight. And then if we lift the crane up, we have that log. Then what we can do with this is we can now deliver this over to our truck if I don't get stuck on trees and stumps. And then there's 2 ways to do this. We can use the crane on the back of the transport truck, or we can just try our very best to lift this up high enough so that we can lower this in without having to use the crane. So if we just make sure that it's over the top of the truck, and then we're going to try opening it, and there we go. So if we now back this up, we have 1 log successfully put in our transport truck. So now what we can do is we can fasten the belts. So that one's done, that one's done. Even though that one's not really doing anything. But that should lock our log in place for when we're driving. You just obviously need to be careful and stuff. So we have gone through the, I'm just going to call it the log carrier. I don't know what this machine's actually called. I believe this one comes under the miscellaneous category. We've successfully put a log into our transport truck for selling. We've harvested some trees with the harvester. I absolutely love this machine. And the fact that it automatically cuts the logs into the size that you want them. We've also done a little bit of the wood chipping and put the wood chips into the trailer. We've done some stump cutting with the white tractor here. We've done some tree planting. So all that's left is to use the yarder or the winch. So if we get this bad boy started up, what we're going to do is get it unfolded so that it's a nice big tower. And then what we're going to do is come over to the back of the machine. And it says if you press R, you can set up the yarder rope. So we click that. And then we basically drag this to a tree. You need to be careful with some of these vehicles. Some are going to work better like uphill and downhill. You'll see we can't actually connect to this tree. So what I've done is I've set it up out of the way. I'm going to chop a couple of small logs and I'll show you. But this basically helps you clean up the forest when you're doing your foresting or deforesting. And when it comes to chopping up a log that's got loads of branches and stuff coming off it, if we crouch with the chainsaw in our hands, you'll see that, like, you might not be able to see it properly, but there's a green line that goes across the tree. When the line goes orange, when you're over a branch, if you kind of just spam click, you'll see that you're removing the branches off the log, just to make it that little bit cleaner to work with. So just kind of spam click over the log in all the different positions to try and move as many of these as possible. So what I've done is I've taken 4 little, like, chips off a log, and I put them in the middle of the pathway. So say they're in our way and we've got this yarder or the winch set up. Then what we can do with this is you'll see that if we look at one of the logs, we can actually attach it to the yarder. But another thing you can do with this is if we look at it, you can move the carriage. So if I use K and M, you'll see that that's going to move along. And it goes all along that wire. And then what you can also do is you can enable follow mode. So if I press R, it's going to move it to exactly where we're standing. So it makes it nice and easy to deal with the little offcuts and stuff that you might need moving. So if I move this to here, then take it out of follow mode. I don't know if that's going to be too far. No, it's not too far. So what we can do is press B and attach that to the yarder. That's going to bring it, like, basically attach it and bring it along. So then what we can do is just stand here and we can lift it and lower it. So if I do J on the keyboard and lift it up so it's a little bit closer. Then if I use M, we're going to go back along, and it's going to move it to exactly where I want it. And then all I've got to do is go back over to where it is. They do swing like crazy when they're on here. And then what I'm going to do is lower it down with N on the keyboard. And when that's low enough, what we are going to do is press V and detach it. And there is our log out of the way from where it was originally and exactly where we want it. So, say we've done all the deforesting we want, and it's now time to go and sell our logs and our wood chip. If you come into the pause menu, go to prices, scroll all the way down, we're going to start with the wood chip, and we're going to see here that we can get £499 here at the grain barge terminal, or we could go to the animal dealer. So you can tag it by pressing enter, or you can just find it on your map. We're going to get £484. I believe that's per 1,000 litres or something like that. So what we can do is find the animal dealer on the map. So if you have it tagged, all it's going to do is make sure that it flashes. So you can see the animal dealers down here, which is literally just south of where the vehicle shop is. So if I click on that untag, because I now know where I need to go. If I now drive this trailer to the animal dealer, and you'll see when we get the trailer in position, we can start overloading. And I mean, we're very much in negative money, but if we start overloading and we've only got a tiny bit, you'll see we made £108 for that little harvest. Obviously, like, I've literally just chucked one log in the back of this. And when I say log, I mean, like, it was basically a tree stump. It was tiny. So you can imagine when you're doing a big deforestation sort of job that you've set up on farmland, you can make a decent amount of money from this. And there's also a load of contracts you can do. If we quickly go to the contracts, I mean, granted, right now I don't have the most, but there's wood transport here. It just says transport the trees to the specified selling station to get paid. Don't damage them. Any damage will be deducted from your pay. You can lease all the equipment and stuff that you'll need. And now that we have the log to go and sell, if we go to the prices again, and this time we go to actual wood, you'll see that we can go to carpentry, paper factory, but let's go to the sawmill. So if I tag that and find that one on the map, so you'll see here, this is the sawmill. So it's basically just go along that road where the animal dealer is, but keep going all the way around until you get to the sawmill. And you'll see, because we put the straps on, that the log is nicely secured in the back. So we can absolutely bomb it to the sawmill with this log. And not only that, you'll see by the size of the trailer on this truck, you'll see that you can carry quite a few logs. So you can make your, like, forestry operations quite big. So when we get down to the sawmill, it's a very, very odd place for this. But you're going to see this little trailer icon on the floor. So you want to put your truck over the top of it. If I can kind of just get it to the side a little bit so I can show you the icon. Or if I just drive forward, you'll see the icon at the back. So the icon sits here. Now this is where you overload your trailers. But because we have logs, they don't work exactly the same. When you've got wood chip, when you've got crops, they are going to work in the way that you put the trailer over the top of the grate or whatever it is, you overload it, and that is how you sell it. Whereas when you're selling logs, you're selling them whole. What you want to do is park your truck over the top of that little symbol, and then what you need to do is you need to find the door that's got the exclamation mark that basically gives you the option to sell your wood. So if we press R, you're going to see that I managed to sell that tiny little 5-metre log for £276. So that's now come off the back of my truck. We've sold that log. And obviously, if you've got say you've got a 20-metre tree, that's going to be a £1,000 tree each time. So if you do 10 of those trees, that's £10,000. The money's actually really decent from foresting in this game, or deforesting, forestry, whatever you want to call it. You'll see the logs now disappeared. So what we'd now have to do is drive this truck back. So that was my forestry guide for Farming Simulator 25, just to give you guys the basics, to teach you about all the different machines, how they work and stuff. If you have any other questions about deforesting and stuff in the game, then let me know in the comments. And what we are going to do is leave that video there. I will see you guys in the next one. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it helped you out. Thank you for watching.